All right, guys, back here on Southeastern 14 with Max Barr. We continue our look at the new look SEC basketball rosters for most teams heading into next season. One of those teams, of course, is Arkansas. And while we focused on transfers, we're also focusing on new additions to the roster, which don't necessarily have to be transfers. Although, Max, you kind of say this guy's a transfer. He just happens to be transferring as a freshman, going from committing to John Calipari at Kentucky to now committing to John Calipari at Arkansas. And that is, of course, Karter Knox, one of the talented freshmen that's going to be joining the Hogs this season. And we're going to talk about what he brings to the table there in Fayetteville. Before we do, as always, let's tell you about our friends at Bet Online, your number one source for all your summer sports this season, from MLB, golf. I'm just going to stop on golf for a second. NBA and NHL playoff stats. If you're a golf bettor right now and there's someone you have bet on in the PGA Championship, I don't even know how to have that conversation with, I'd say put some more bets on him because I think he's going to win the whole thing. Anyways, back to the rest of this. All the latest stats, news, and scores available. News, very important also in the golf world right now if you're looking to bet on a certain player. To follow your favorite team and players, get the latest odds and lines, including team matchups, player props, and odds on just about every sport out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. All right, Max, let's tell Arkansas fans why Karter Knox can be the Scotty Scheffler of Arkansas basketball. And by that, I mean what he can do at his actual, playing profession here, his skill set, because he is a top 20 recruit, no surprise.
Boom.
And John Calipari era to get someone like that. The brother of Kevin Knox, so if you're trying to follow, kind of put the comparisons there. Of course, Kevin Knox played at Kentucky, went on to play in the NBA several years ago, and so that's the connection there. What are they getting, Max? What's the biggest things that stand out about Karter Knox?
Well, we're going to score some points, Blake. We're going to score some points here. Offensive weapon. I've got that highlighted on my notes. Real quick, just before I dive into that, when Knox was getting recruited originally out of high school, he had a top 4 of Kentucky, Louisville, South Florida, actually, and G League Ignite. Okay, so get a look at kind of how he was recruited. Consensus 4-star, 247 ESPN, Rivals, whatever you want to call it, 4-star. So he is the first player in Nike EYBL history to lead the 15U, the 16U, and the 17U age groups in per minute scoring 3 years in a row. If you want to get a kind of picture on how many points this guy's putting up, now I know it's very, very skewed in OTE. About 22 points a game. He made 83s across 30 games. I know the defense is different. It's a little bit more offensive minded at OTE, but still, the numbers are there. The history's there. This guy can score points, Blake.
Yeah, he's a scorer. I think that's definitely something that's going to stand out with this group. And, when you look around, we talked about the other guys they've added to the mix. Of course, John L. Davis is going to come in and be a big-time scorer. I don't think it'll surprise anyone that he's going to be the leading scorer on the team. And then you just kind of look at what's paired with him. And, of course, that's a point guard in Boogie Fland. We talked about Aduthiero coming in. Going to be more so a defensive threat, but still will contribute offensively. We've talked about Jonas Adu, same situation. His big strength is going to be on the defensive end, but we know he can score. Big Z, also similar, I think. You're going to see a lot of guys like that. So this is like a scoring addition. We're not, as always, we're not knocking the other side of the game for this guy, but I think scoring is definitely going to be something that stands out just whenever you look at kind of his profile and seeing what he can do. It seems like, not going to be someone who's necessarily going to step out and take 8 threes a game or anything. Going to be able to kind of offer a little bit of value in the mid-range game and being able to kind of use some of his size, I feel like, to, get some of those interesting mismatches probably just based on, how teams are going to have to guard this Arkansas team. And so, yeah, I think that's probably what stands out more than anything is you've got a dynamic scorer here who could, at least Cal could put him in positions where maybe you're getting matched up with a 6'3", 6'2" type guy, and he can kind of use that, whether it's the physicality or just some finding ways to score inside of the perimeter. I think is probably going to be the biggest focus in this offense.
Yeah, so I'm kind of thinking of something here, and I really like the way that he he kind of can play with John L. Davis. And now hear me out. John L. Davis just played the 4. I'm not going to call it power forward. He's not a power forward.
He's not a
okay?
power forward.
He was not a power forward. FAU played small ball past 2 years. But he did play that, if you want to call it the 4. He did play that. What I'm trying to get at is John L. Davis has a lot of experience at 6'4", 200 pounds of playing. He's tough. I mean, he's been playing against bigger defenders. And I like how you said about Knox, how he kind of has that mid-range game from Adam Finkelstein, 247. He's got a consistent pull-up threat in the mid-range, and here's the big thing that you were touching on, and showing an increased willingness to punish smaller defenders in the post. John L. Davis can do that too. So now you've got 2 very good scorers who are not just flashy guys, physical guys who can create mismatches against smaller defenders. You got 2 of them out there on the court. Going to be able to play a lot of games, create a lot of mismatches. I really like that now.
Yeah, I think his role is interesting too, because as we start to try to craft a starting lineup, for Arkansas, finally we're to a point where we can't actually do that. We know Davis is going to be in there. We know Adu's going to be in there.
Yep.
You would feel like there's a great chance that Thiero's in there, kind of at that 4 spot. The point guard, as we're recording this, the point guard spot is Boogie Fland's for now. Now there's another guy out there that may stake claim to that as soon as he makes his decision official, which Arkansas fans have a pretty good idea who we're talking about.
Yep.
But I think that's where they're going to get some interesting lineup combinations, because I think Knox has a great chance, to be in there. We're talking about just kind of that first group, which I always say, I mean, starter, it's just who plays the minutes. Like, I don't care if you start or don't start. It's who's getting the most minutes. And I think all the things we've mentioned, there's opportunity for him to get a lot of minutes right off the bat, not just because he's a stud freshman, but because of, like we said, the way he fits in with everyone else and the different role he's going to play versus what, some of the things Davis will do. Obviously, the guys in the front court, what they're going to do. There's some interesting lineup combinations, I think, that Cal has to work with if, like we said, there are some continued additions to the roster who we think it's going to be, and then you pair it with some of these, the talented freshmen with Boogie Fland, Karter Knox. We're going to do a Billy Richmond video. We'll get to that soon, Arkansas fans. So I think that's also what's kind of fascinating as Cal has built this roster.
No, it is. And now I'm going back to this again. Blake, as we do these videos, sometimes I just kind of fall in love with the fit. Kind of doing that right now because you just brought up Adu Thiero. 6'8", 225. And if the growing rate in the physicality of Adu Thiero makes any progress like it has been, I bet that 225 might even be a little bit higher next year. You got Karter Knox, 215, 220. I mean, these are some men. I like this. This is going to be a physical team.
Yep, good size, good physicality, it seems like, on this this roster. And, I mean, again, if we just go back to the conversations we were having about Cal and needing to kind of revamp certain things, it was, you got to have a defensive-oriented team, and I think they built that in the front court. But now, like I said, you're adding some premier scoring ability, in different areas, and I think that gives them a chance to be kind of an attacking type team where you have a Knox who can attack, hit some mid-range stuff. You've obviously got Davis who can score in a variety of ways, and then, the other guys we've mentioned as well. So curious to see how Cal puts it all together because he's got the talent, and as always, he's got some talented freshmen, and there's no doubt that Karter Knox is one of those, and he's going to play a key role for Arkansas this season.
There's going to be another. There's another of his kind that we'll get to also. Don't worry, Billy Richmond fans. We'll get there.
And guess what? If you want to make sure that you don't miss us talking about Billy Richmond, you can hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications here at Southeastern 14. We will have it all covered. Max might stand up for every video we do the rest of the way.
I'm on the move just like these guys.
Pat McAfee. That may be what we have to use moving forward. Yeah, Max is also on the move. Max may be moving to Fayetteville, Arkansas, for all we know. He may be following Cal to Fayetteville. He may be joining the staff, but we won't break that news just yet. But you guys can follow everything we're doing here. Arkansas fans, basketball, baseball, football, find it all. Hit that subscribe button. More videos on the way. If you haven't already, check out all the other videos we've done on the other players that Arkansas has added to the mix. And any other player you want to hear us talk about in SEC basketball, you can do that here at Southeastern 14. We appreciate you guys watching as always, and we will talk to you again here soon at Southeastern 14.